So I'm delighted today we have Deputy First Minister Shona Robison with us. It's great for our conference to have her join us this morning. And we're just about to hear from her, and then we will be announcing the new monitor farms for agritourism for Scotland, and Julia Latto will do that. Could I just ask, if you are called out, if you come up to the stage when you are announced, with whoever's with here from your family or your business, and you will be presented with a framed map from Shona. You'll get your photo taken and then exit the stage, and then Julia will announce the next ones, and that's the kind of running order. So without further ado, we'll move and I'll introduce Shona, who's going to speak to us. Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, good morning, everyone. I did wonder why so many people were looking a bit bleary-eyed. That's all clear now. It sounds like a good night. Well, thank you for the invitation to speak here. I'm delighted to be here in Perth to address the Scottish Agritourism 2023 conference. And before I go any further, I want to offer specific thanks to Caroline, whose enthusiasm and drive has been instrumental in pushing forward agritourism. And not just Caroline, one of her key talents has been to identify, inspire and develop the right people and bring them to the sector. The sector is huge now when compared to where it was when it started, and I'd like to thank everyone involved for their hard work and enthusiasm in what is becoming a great Scottish success story. And what a year 2023 has been for Scottish agritourism. My own involvement started when I was asked to launch this year's Go Rural map as part of Agritourism Month last May. Now, the map makes it easy for interested parties to find and visit farms and crofts to enjoy food and drink experience. It encourages us all to take advantage of the Scottish countryside and fresh air by getting outdoors. In 2022, when the map was first launched, there were 135 businesses on it. Now there are 217 businesses, and there are indications of further growth to come, and that's fantastic. So thank you to each and every one of those 217 businesses for all that you do, for getting behind the collaborative work, and most importantly, for making a difference to life in rural Scotland through creativity, tenacity, talent, and sheer hard work. Of course, since I began taking quite a deep interest, actually, in this area on behalf of the government, it was important that I test the premise and make sure that I speak from experience when I talk about the virtues of this fantastic sector. So I was delighted to visit Caroline's own agritourism business to see for myself what agritourism can offer visitors and learn a bit more about the strategy for growth in the sector. I think this sector not only provides valuable diversification for individual businesses, but it plays an increasingly important role in the economic and social well-being of rural and island communities. Agritourism currently contributes 170 million to the Scottish economy, and I know that you have the ambition to raise that to 200 million by 2030. And it's not just about economic benefits either. When I visited Caroline's farm, I heard of examples of where agritourism can contribute to mental well-being by combating the loneliness and isolation that some farmers feel. And there's a wider well-being aspect too, because agritourism provides opportunities for children to visit farms and learn about where their food comes from, for people to buy direct from producers and understand the importance of that connection. Agritourism also helps people to get in touch with nature and the land and away from the grind of their daily lives. And my goodness, we all need that sometimes. Ultimately, it helps to remind all of us in Scotland that the land is one of our greatest assets, and that agriculture, farming and food production play a vital part in the custodianship of that land. I also heard how it helps to keep farming families together, keeping people on the land and preventing the population shift from rural to urban. Traditionally, one child quite often takes over the family farm and their siblings sometimes move away. But because of the opportunities that agritourism provides, it does allow involvement of the extended family in the business. These are not things you immediately consider when you think of agritourism, but these less obvious indirect benefits also matter. Providing good quality jobs for local people and giving visitors a Scotland at its best experience, agritourism is almost a definition of the well-being economy in its own right. The strategy sets out your and our ambition for the sector. A key aim of the agritourism strategy is to encourage and support new entrants into agritourism. And I know you've been working closely with Visit Scotland to encourage farmers to take up their offer of a free listing on their website. Last year, there were officially 531 agritourism businesses in Scotland, and I believe the target set at last year's conference was to increase that to 600 this year. Well, I'm pleased that the target has already been exceeded and that this year some 632 agritourism businesses have been established, and that is fantastic. That growth is exciting, but we need to make sure it's sustainable and is contributing to other priorities for Scotland, particularly to mitigate and adapt to climate change, not just in agriculture, but in other sectors like transport, homes and industry too. And one key focus of the strategy was to increase the number of agritourism ventures welcoming travel trade businesses, such as organised tour operators, from 15 to 40 by 2030. And you have 40 of these travel trade ready agritourism businesses welcoming groups of international and domestic visitors onto Scottish farms right now. Another target beaten, 7 years ahead of schedule, which is fantastic. I wish all our targets could be met like that. That would be fantastic. One thing I have learned about Scottish agritourism is that you are not a sector that sits back and rests on your laurels, far from it. Already you have increased that target from 40 to 100 by 2030, so stretching those aims. Again, though, we need to be mindful to build sustainability in its widest sense into how those ambitions are to be achieved. Another key focus has been planning, and it's great to see that Scotland's Chief Planner was at the conference yesterday to address you about NPF 4. We know that planning is an essential element of supporting growth and helping agritourism businesses in Scotland to thrive and to diversify. And I know that Scottish Agritourism and the Scottish Government's planning team have developed a good working partnership to encourage this. So as well as being Deputy First Minister, I'm also the Cabinet Secretary for Finance. The budget process is dominating my life, so it's really nice to get away from that briefly. So look, I know the importance of having a growing and thriving business sector. In April this year, the First Minister announced the New Deal for Business, which is an opportunity to help business and trade to thrive and maximise the opportunity of the green economy with fairness at its heart. And in developing the New Deal for Business, we agreed 4 main pillars to help drive opportunities forward. Agritourism is already well advanced in working on 3 of the pillars in that strategy, contributing to a wellbeing economy, having a shared awareness of the economic and business environment, and developing the best environment to do business. But I'd like, if I may, to concentrate a little on the 4th pillar, which is on enhanced partnership working. Shortly after last year's conference, the first meeting of the Scottish Agritourism Strategy Implementation Board was held. And the board's role is to ensure that Scotland is meeting the targets set out in the National Agritourism Strategy. These include 1,000 farms and crofts in agritourism by 2030, growing the sector to a value of £250 million per annum, increasing visitor numbers and increasing the number of businesses with green tourism accreditation. These are quite ambitious targets, but if I've learned one thing about Scottish agritourism, that is that the sector thrives on ambition. The board, which is co-chaired by my ministerial colleague, Marie Goujon, Cabinet Secretary for Rural Affairs, Land Reform and the Islands, is a great opportunity for enhanced partnership working with both private and public sector coming together to focus on the key areas of the strategy action plan. And it's the first time that the enterprise agencies, Scotland Food and Drink, Visit Scotland, the Crofton Commission, local authorities and the Scottish Government have met regularly together with the private sector to discuss and support growth in agri-tourism, so it matters. You'll see firsthand an example of how all of these groups and organisations are working in partnership with the panel session on Monitor Farms shortly. The strategy meetings have already borne fruit. For example, an industry marketing plan has been produced jointly between Visit Scotland and Scottish Agritourism. Another key focus has been working to develop relationships at a regional level with local authorities, local food groups and destination marketing organisations to ensure that agritourism thrives in each area of Scotland. After the conference later today, I understand an economic development summit will take place between public sector economic development leaders and private sector Scottish agritourism destination leaders. I have to say, it's also good that 12 out of the 16 of the destination leaders playing a key role in leading the sector throughout Scotland are women. Agritourism, I think, is leading the way in the growing trend evidenced by this year's agriculture census of getting more women involved with farm businesses. All the destination leaders are playing a vital role by providing support, sharing knowledge, and sometimes just being a sounding board for new ideas to local businesses. And it should be pointed out that they're all undertaking this vital and time-consuming work on a voluntary basis, so thank you all for doing that. I think it's a reflection of your hard work and the hard work of everyone involved with the sector that you have an ambition to bring the World Agritourism Conference to Scotland in 2030. How fantastic would that be? And I understand the bid work for that will take place early next year. And I wish you all the very best of luck in bringing this major event to Scotland. And we will, of course, support these efforts. We have a good track record of bringing major events like that, so we are there behind you to support it very much. Scottish agritourism really is growing in standing internationally. One of the aims in the Scotland Outlook 2030 tourism strategy is for Scotland to become a world leader in 21st century tourism, and no one can deny agritourism is playing its part in achieving that very much indeed. And it's great to see Scotland profiled on the international stage by Caroline in her role as a lead for Western Europe for the newly formed Global Agritourism Network. And building those international networks and undertaking knowledge exchange at a European and global level is critical for Scotland. And that can be seen here at the conference with international speakers from two countries leading in agritourism, namely Italy and Australia. Agritourism really is looking outwards and helping to deliver on our ambition for Scotland to continue to be an outward-looking, inclusive and welcoming nation. So I want to reassure you of this government's ongoing support for the sector, and one of the ways, of course, we do this is through the Monitor Farm programme. We support this programme by providing Scottish Enterprise with £443,000 to manage the programme for this and then for the next 2 financial years. You'll hear a lot more about the Monitor Farm programme and who the 4 successful farms are in a few minutes, but I'm not going to spoil that surprise. I'm also pleased that for the 2nd year running, the Scottish Government will provide £35,000 of funding over 2023-24 to enable Scottish agritourism to provide a leadership role in relation to the Scottish agritourism strategy. I want to conclude by offering a few personal thoughts. I've very much enjoyed being welcomed into the world of agritourism. It's my absolute privilege to have been invited into your world to spend time with you, to see how you thrive on success, to learn and listen to your needs, interests and concerns, and to witness your achievements and ambition, and to get to know more of you personally as well. So please keep the invites coming, and I can't wait to see what Scottish agritourism will achieve in 2024. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy First Minister. I'd now like to invite Julia Latto to come to the stage. well, she is on the stage, but come to the lectern. So Julia is the programme manager for Scottish Enterprise. She looks after various large projects, but one of them is the Rural Leadership Programme, and the other is the Scotland's Agritourism Monitor Farm Programme. So over to you, Julia.
Good morning, everyone. It's lovely to see everyone here, and it was wonderful yesterday, and thoroughly enjoyed last night. So, yeah, and I've been meeting people today to say I'm actually quite nervous about this part, so bear with me because there's quite big announcements coming, and I'm quite excited to also share. Okay, so the Agritourism Monitor Farm Programme, as the Minister's already said, will support 400 farming, crofting and rural businesses over the next 3 years throughout all parts of Scotland. The programme is being assisted by 5 experts in different types of agritourism. 40 businesses with growth plans are being supported as part of the Agritourism Core Community Group, receiving targeted support and advice. Based on the quality of the applications that we received this year, all of the Monitor Farm applicants who will not become the Monitor Farmers have been able to take up the place on this core community group. An additional 9 businesses will now be able to apply for the remaining places on the core community group. And these will be located throughout Scotland. In addition, new regional community groups in close proximity to the new Monitor Farms will be supported with additional meetings and advice. And there will be a focus on using the Monitor Farm programme as a game changer to drive up domestic and international visitors coming and visiting farms and crofts in that specific region. 100 new startup, new agritourism businesses will be supported with a monthly online meeting. And we hope that many of the under 35s who have recently undertaken the conference scholarship programme will get involved with this element of the programme. The actual Monitor Farms are at the heart of all of this activity. And Caroline and I have been through quite a rigorous selection process. And after a thorough process, including reviewing the 40 applications, shortlisting, and then we went round Scotland and interviewed all 11 businesses, the width and breadth of Scotland. So I've really seen Caroline more than my husband and family, really for 3 weeks solid. But yeah, it was well worth it. We also interviewed the local community as part of that application process. So without further ado, it is now my pleasure to announce Scotland's new agritourism Monitor Farmers. And as Caroline mentioned earlier, I'd like to ask, after each announcement, if the family could come to the stage once it's been announced and be presented with a framed map, and you'll get your photograph taken as well. Okay, so here's the new Monitor Farms. In the Highlands and Islands Enterprise area, Fern Farm, Easter Ross, which would be...
Just did a big mistake.
Oh, have you? Fern Farm in Easter Ross produces Scotch beef, Scotch lamb and cereals. The Scott family will focus on developing a new agritourism venture based around food from the farm and wool, improving the sales performance of their existing accommodation venture, developing an overall succession and business plan for integrating the next generation into the business and using the programme to increase international and domestic tourism income in Easter Ross and the wider Highland region.
Good, stay that way for me. Nice. Let's go again. come forward for me just a wee bit. We've got horns sticking out the joint.
Oh, you've got the horns.
Lovely. And again, come up.
Okay. Going forward on to the next one.
Well done. Well done. Well done. Well done, Fiona. Okay, so the Scottish Enterprise area. I'd like to announce the Scottish Enterprise area now. We have 2 in this area. Okay, so the next one is Western Farms in Aberdeenshire, which grows a range of vegetables and cereals. So Fiona Smith and her family will focus on developing the existing farm retail business in the hope of increasing footfall, building a brand for the business, investigating options for a new cook school and or food-related tours enterprise. They also hope to prepare a whole business plan to deal with changes in 2024 in the farming business and use the programme to increase international and domestic tourism income in Aberdeenshire and the wider North East region. Very well done. Very well done, Fiona. Well done. Okay, so the next Scottish Enterprise area. Kincloon Estate, an organic farm in Angus. Which produces Scotch beef and Scotch lamb. Alwyn, Pally and Virginia Osborne Antolovi and family will focus on sharing their experience of a major investment project, with building about to start and a new wedding and events venue. They hope to build an occupancy and sales on a newly opened accommodation property, develop new travel trade-focused tours based on the history of Highland ponies in Scotland, share best practice and existing knowledge on wildlife, environment and biodiversity within the agritourism sector, develop a business plan for the future of the business with clear long-term plans for succession, and a drive up to domestic and international tourism income in the Tay country area. Well done. Congratulations. And our South of Scotland Enterprise area. I'd like to announce Ernesby Farm in Dumfries and Galloway, which is a dairy farm. David McMicken and team will focus on developing Ernesby within a destination by increasing footfall, consider market positioning and focus, increase international visitors and become travel trade ready. Working on a business plan to integrate more of the farm into the visitor experience and driving up domestic and international tourism income in the Dumfries and Galloway and South of Scotland area. Well done, guys. Congratulations. Well done. Well done, David. Well done. Okay, and new this year, we've actually created an additional two other farms, which will become satellite monitor farms. And we're going to host one monitor farm visit each year to these businesses. So our first satellite monitor farm is Cairns Farm in West Lothian.
I've got a problem with my slides. It's okay. Keep going.
Is a new wedding and events venue which will focus on succession and the future of the overall farming and agritourism business, increasing growth and income from the existing assets and being a pivot for agritourism growth in the Central Belt area. Oh, well done. Well done. Okay, and our next satellite monitor farm will be Long Island Retreat in the Outer Hebrides. Lindsay and her husband and family on the Long Island Retreat in the Outer Hebrides is a croft developing new trade travel, food and drink and accommodation ventures. The focus will be on inspiring crofting businesses across Scotland to start up and develop agritourism and farm retail, being a pivot for agritourism growth in the Outer Hebrides, establishing a vibrant new enterprise and increasing turnover.
Hide behind that.
Well done, Lindsay. So I'd just like to thank everyone indeed for all their hard work that they put into the whole agritourism monitor farm process. It was an absolute pleasure to go around and visit everybody. But you are part of a very strong community group, and you're part of a very special network now, and I'm very excited to support you over the next few years. So very well done, everyone. Thank you.